goodness. Yep. Okay, we're all gathered here. Look at the mob scene here. We're all gathered to contribute to the treasures of Baba stories and anecdotes about Baba in our lives. Oh my goodness. This is going to be rich. Okay. So let's see. We already started a little bit before you guys got here, but don't worry about it. We'll come up with something. And if you well, you can't. Oh, I know what you could do. You could come next week. if you have a contribution. You can't do it right now. You can't add to this now, but we'll see what happens. Maybe somebody else is coming.
This program has a comedian on as a host. This is so unique.
Yeah.
So we didn't have anything hanging over from our pre-conversation, right?
What happened last week? I wasn't here.
Well, you could find out in our recording. But
oh, that's true. That's true.
Wendy and I wowed everybody. No, just kidding. You know, we told some stories. What can I say?
All right.
And they were good. I liked them.
Yeah.
We also had Arthur came by and he told us his story, if I'm recalling. Yeah. He came on at the end of the program. So I could kick it off with a short story and tell you that I heard this recently on YouTube from the great storyteller Sam Carawala.
Oh my.
And if you can get a hold of Sam Carawala telling stories, it's worth it. If you want to hear some touching, inspiring stories, he is a warehouse of that.
What was his wife's name?
Roshan.
Roshan. Thank you. Thank you.
Roshan, wasn't she just oh my God. Such heart. Such heart.
Absolutely. Sorry, Ron. It was haunting me.
No problem. So what he brought up was a woman who I believe he met, who was probably his senior by a little bit. She was with Baba in the 30s, and she had some stories about it. And so let me just see. What did I write down here? Yeah. Well, listen to the one where he tells that how she had this rather enormous stomach tumor, and the people wanted to operate, but she wanted to ask Baba what he said about it, whether she should go in for the operation, and Baba kept on saying no. But now I can't remember the detail of what Baba did when it was getting very desperate. And her husband was thinking that, maybe we should just go ahead and have it done anyway, and just let that be the case. Anyhow, but I can't remember that one good enough. So, but I do remember that she also came to Baba right before he left for one of his trips to the West. I don't know if it was the first one or one of the other ones in the 30s, where he was leaving and he had people come to take his darshan. And so there were about 50 people. And this woman had a custom that she remembered, which is to bring somebody something sweet to eat when they were going to go on a trip. It was just a thing that she thought of. So what she brought was some like a cereal type thing with sweetener added to it, and 6 rather salty puris, which are like fried chapatis, and so she brought those, and she walks up to Baba and she's giving it to Baba, and Baba says, "What is this? What, you want me to eat this in front of these 50 people? That wouldn't be nice. I'm not going to do that." And so she was starting to feel bad. And then he said, "Look, I want you to distribute this to the people, but don't look at anyone. Don't look at them.
Mm.
Just pay attention to what you're doing. Just hand it, but don't look at them. And so she started to hand out this cereal in some way. I'm not sure how she was doing it. Maybe it was dried or something. And these puris. And by the time she had fed all 50 people, she came back to Baba and she had everything that she had started with was still there. It was the, but every once in a while, Baba would have something like that occur, something that would be more supernatural, I think. Uh, you know, if it didn't create a problem in somebody's um, faith in Baba, he would do it. Or he would have one of his agents. That was probably an agent thing, you know. He
Well,
he says,
Jesus did
go
that.
feed everybody with this thing that'll feed maybe 6 people. But the agent somehow keeps filling everything. Or once she gave one person a puri, there was another one would come underneath and it would be 6 again. Anyhow, that was one of the stories of how Baba does what he does,
Yeah.
doing something supernatural. Now, on occasion, we would never think that he would do that, but then every once in a while he does it. It's very charming, I think.
That's right. Jesus did the same one with the bread, the loaves.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Everybody,
that's
everybody ate and they still had more
right.
than they started with.
That's right.
Yeah, for sure.
Was there a kind of a reason or a, underlying, it just happened, or was it significant to someone for some reason?
I would say it was
Pretty good
significant
trick.
because this woman was doing it out of such love for Baba, but she was not really thinking about the situation that she was walking into. She just came up with this, this thing that she could make. And when she walked in, Baba set her straight, but he also was trying to appreciate the love that she was giving it with.
So this is 50 people that she was serving these things to,
Yeah.
is that right?
Yeah.
A large group.
Yeah.
And still left over. Okay, that makes sense. I mean, I understand that, yeah.
Yeah, well, it happened also with what's Amrit's father's name?
Kumar.
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 Kumar, was there when he had too little food had brought. He was supposed to bring some food, but it was way more people there when he got there that Baba had invited to eat. And he was really upset, but he noticed that Baba was giving out large portions to everybody. And he thought, oh my goodness, they're going to run out of food. But then when he finally went over there and looked in the pot, it was still half full. He thought it was completely gone. But he recounts that story to people, and he says that Baba, when he called Baba on that, when Baba said he didn't do miracles, you might know that what Baba told him was that no, he didn't do miracles. However, he had these servants that nobody could see that that served him that could do miracles. They were really good at doing miracles. And so they were the ones that were filling that pot with the food, with the rice and dal that Kumar had brought. And thus, and what Baba also had a little analogy for it as well, which was that if let's say there's this king who has invited some guests to the royal castle where he lives, and he's met there by the servant, and the servant has instructions to where the guests should be housed and entertained and all that. And so the servant walks in and sees that there are no towels and toiletries in the bathing area. And so what does the servant do? Does he go to the king and say, we don't have any toiletries and towels in there? No, that would be absurd. No, they just get some towels and toiletries and put them in there. It wasn't a miracle, but the servant just doing serving his Lord. And
Mm.
I
so that's
remember
what
Bubba
Bob was doing there.
saying that
What'd
it's
she
not.
make?
Bubba says, I remember him saying that it's your faith. It's your faith that has created this miracle. It's not. I'm not doing a miracle. It's you. It's your faith
Mm.
that has created it.
If I could do it, I'd bring this pumpkin cheesecake back for one more portion.
Oh boy.
It was good. I put peaches on top of it, man.
That's good.
Mm,
Oh, dear.
On a
Yeah.
completely different note, I think I can't remember. Maybe you might have been there, Arthur, talking to Ralph about the court. We were talking about Monty and Ralph
Oh yeah, well, I remember a little bit.
just sort of deadpan says, I went to court with Monty. We said, what?
Oh, I remember.
What?
Yeah.
I said, what? What are you talking about?
It was a good story.
That's a good story. When they all had to, I don't know who took who to court, to Kutumba Shastri. They had that tussle over who was going to take responsibility of the trust when Baba passed. As Ralph says, before he passed, it didn't matter. Baba was in charge. But after he passed, they had to take it seriously. They had to have a chairman and all the whole legal thing. And Kutumba Shastri was not willing to hand it over to the Mandali. So it finally wound up in court, and which happened in Bombay, and it happened that Ralph, Charles Haynes, and John Leiter were in Bombay. So Mani, I guess Mani found out. Anyway, they connected with Mani. Mani asked them to please all come to the court proceedings. And Ralph said he was sitting right next to Mani. She said, you pay attention. She said, you look at him, you bore holes in his head. You look at him and you say, Baba, 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 Baba. And it went on he said he couldn't exactly remember, more than a day, a couple days or 3 days or something like that. Man, what a deal that he didn't remember the upshot. He wasn't there for the final verdict. So of course I jumped on him and said, Ralph, what stories? We're going to interview you. He said, no, I never remember anything. I can't. He's just kind of backing out of it. So you guys may have to help me get it out of him. He's obviously got stories. He was there at such a time. He was at the Great Darshan.
Wow.
Did he say what year that was?
71. 1971.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that when I went in 73, they were still talking about that.
Yeah. Yeah. Such a thing. Imagine fighting with the Mandali over anything, over anything.
No, I couldn't imagine that one. Oh my gosh. Oh dear. Yeah. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Betty, did Eva send you one of those poems she's been making with the AI?
Yes, I have to say, I did like it, but I talked to Marwan Mehta. I asked him this question. I said, he was inviting questions. I said, what do you think about this? The AI, it creates beautiful poetry, but it's kind of confusing to me. And he said, well, yeah, it does. He said, but there's no soul in it. There's no heart, there's no human. He
Yeah.
did say, he said, there's no soul in it. And I thought that sounds about right. It is.
Well, there's got to be a little bit of a semi-soul, because I said, now, if you took Betty's name, because she made me one and sent it to me. I said, if you took Betty's name and just put it where my name was with the words she used last time, would it come out the same? She said, no. I thought, well, because that computer, it knows little things about you that you don't even know it knows, I mean, I guess it does. I don't know, because
Exactly. It's very confusing, and it's only going to get more so, I think, as it gets into the whole live stream of everybody.
well, it's definitely more smart than human intelligence, You know,
I don't know about that. I worked for a computer company years and years when I first came out of school, and they offered me a contract if I went and I did all the training and blah 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 for programming and so on and so forth. And I turned it down. Like I really had a gut feeling, don't do this. It's not a good thing. And I
yeah,
didn't. I excelled in the company. I did really well. But I did not get involved in that aspect of it. And the more I saw and heard, the more, like you're saying, Betty, it doesn't have a soul. It has only what you put into it. There's something missing from it. And I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying that it's not like a human
no,
writing a story or whatever.
Well,
And that's my opinion. I'm
it's
just,
impressive. It's impressive. So
oh
I
yeah,
think it
for
can be used
sure.
for a lot of good things. You know,
Yeah,
I'm not against it
absolutely.
at all. You know, but you know, they've already figured out they've already using it for a war machine. I'm sure. You know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and
It's
then
not bad. I mean, anything can be used either way.
it's got at its fingertips all of Hafiz and Rumi, and
Yeah.
it can sound a lot like them. It can probably use
Yeah.
pieces of those poems, and
Yeah.
but yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
I'm with you, Betty. And
What do you
I'm,
think, Ron?
yeah.
What's that?
What do you think about AI and poetry and artwork and if anything?
I don't, it makes me somewhat ill,
Oh,
particularly the images.
God.
The images really make me ill, and but even the other, and there's so much of it that comes up in things that I'm exposed to. I was just watching something before I came to this gathering, and I couldn't tell if it was AI, but
Yeah.
the message that it had was brilliant. I mean, it was a lot of things that
Mm.
I am totally in line with, but and it said it very, very clearly. But for some reason, I wasn't getting excited about it. It just seemed like somebody had taken all the right things and put them together in a little book report or something, and copied it in and presented it in a very logical way, very understandable.
Yeah.
And the message was powerful, very good, but I think spontaneity and creativity are missing, and that's maybe where the soul is.
Yeah.
And if you don't have spontaneity and creativity, it just doesn't touch. It doesn't touch you.
Mhm.
Um,
I agree. Mm.
so not in the way it would be if you were more in the real world, so to speak.
Maybe we need to program the Christ mind into it. See what happens then.
Yeah, I was always grateful. My boss, he, as soon as anybody would start at me on anything, he would just shut them down. And he was fairly high up in the company. And he just allowed me to not, like, I could do my job and type and
Yeah,
all
don't
that.
mess her up.
Yeah.
She's doing good.
Don't, yes, no, don't do that. And I was always so grateful.
Did he understand how you felt then? He must have.
Yes, yes, he did. He did. And he trusted me implicitly because of an incident that happened that almost cost me my life. And he,
Mm.
yeah, he just backed me 100% in things because he knew I had integrity, yeah. Anyway, I have to leave it there. It's one of
I'd
those
like
things.
to change the subject to a way that Baba worked with a particular person. He might have done this with more than one, but what it is has become a very popular practice among counselors and psychologists. And you'll see when I tell you the story, which maybe all of you have already heard, but maybe somebody listening to this recording hasn't heard this, but it's a worthwhile story as to how Baba can work with somebody. So what it is, it has Baba in this darshan program, in a small little meeting hall in some town or village, and there's music playing. The people are singing guzzles and stuff, and in walks the town drunk, and this town drunk is really despised by almost all the people in the whole village. And the fact that he's coming in there, there's already people that are getting up and maybe trying to consider how they're going to throw this guy out without, making a big disruption about it. Because it just doesn't seem fitting that he should be there in front of Baba. But before anybody could do that, Baba asked for that man to come over to him. And he comes over, and Baba motions for him to sit right in front of him. And so he's sitting like almost right up against, Baba's legs. He's on the floor, and these people he has the people start singing again. And occasionally they sing about divine wine. It's one of those kind of guzzles, where they're using that. And every time they mention wine, Baba nudges this guy. He's like, pay attention, and because this guy liked to drink wine. And so after the song, Baba starts asking him things like, so you like wine? What kind of wine do you like to drink? And, and he names a few brands or something, or one that he particularly likes. And then eventually Baba asks him, tell me, how much do you drink per day? How much would you be drinking? And the man said, I drink about a bottle a day. Now, keep in mind, the reason why the people despise this guy was he was so irresponsible. He would spend a lot of the money that he earned, if he ever did earn any money, instead of using it for upkeep of his family and household, he would drink most of it to buy his drink. So anyhow, he says, I drink a bottle a day. And Baba said, a bottle a day. Okay, well, I have an idea for you. I want to pose a challenge to you. And this guy had already feel like Baba was his best friend. I mean, there was nobody in the room that had ever treated him with, how cordially and friendly as Baba was treating him. And it was totally, had that sincerity that Baba had. So Baba says, my challenge to you is, and you to let me know if you can do this, to drink one bottle a day of wine, but no more. Never drink more than one bottle. Do you think you could do that? And the man said, sure, I could do that. He said, would you want to take my challenge to do that, not drink more than one bottle? And he says, sure, I'll take that challenge. He wants to connect with Baba. And so Baba's giving him that opportunity to take this challenge. So the next time the man that Baba's in this area, the band comes over, and Baba calls him over, and he says, I'm wondering, you remember I gave you that challenge? He said, how did that work for you? Were you able to do that? Were you successful at that? He says, yes, Baba. I never drank more than one bottle a day. Says, well, that's very good. Now, I have another challenge for you. Since you were so good at that one, I wonder if you think you could drink no more than 3/4 of a bottle. You think you could do that? Yeah, I think I could, Baba. Now, what's going on here with him saying that is that just from only drinking that one bottle, and he was actually developing a sense of what's the word? I usually have this word. Huh?
Devotion.
Well, no, his ability, he was feeling confident. He had confidence now, and he had discipline. He was developing confidence and discipline, where that was never something that he would even consider. He was just, uh, the, wanting to drink the wine for whatever reason. He was addicted. It was an addiction, but it was based on something that was in his mind and in his heart. And but he had no way of disciplining himself. This way, he began to discipline himself because it wasn't that hard. Anyhow, the next time Baba came back, he asked him about that. What about that 3/4 of a bottle? Oh, Baba, that was easy. I did that. And he says, okay, but can you do a half a bottle? And he says, oh yeah, I can do that, Baba. I'll take that challenge from you. And so then the next time Baba came back after he'd given him that half bottle challenge, he said, what about that challenge? He says, Baba, forget about it. I gave up drinking 2 months ago. He says, I don't drink anymore. I don't have to have that. And so this is a type of a thing that people do now. Is people need instilled in them a certain kind of confidence in how they go about their lives. They need that sense of self that gives them strength and discipline over things that they seem to have no discipline at all. And so I just have thought that was one of the best um, ways that Baba dealt with someone who needed his help and could receive it and did receive it.
There you go.
Ronald, it's Martin.
Hey, Martin.
Talk to you later.
Yeah.
See you.
So anyone anybody run across that idea before, or another story or anecdote that we can sink our teeth into? Betty, why don't you put your sound on here?
No, I think Baba had more, what's the word? Cachet, so more. I might have tried that less successfully. He's pretty persuasive, Baba is, yeah. But it's a good technique.
Yeah. I mean, the love that Baba gave it to this man who was unloved to the
Right.
extent where he had no friends. He had nobody that cared about him. They only despised what he did and how he lived. And I mean, it must have been terrible. So even if
It
he
was.
got a little bit of love, that would be one thing. But he got the love of the avatar. I mean, that was gonna seal the deal.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm,
Hmm.
mm. Yeah. Yeah. I have a story about Seclusion Hill. Mara, not Baba's Mara, Marwan, yeah, Marwan's sister, right? She lived out there at Marizan. That's right. I'm just confirming because of my concussion. I don't want to.
Marijuana, you mean Marijuana Justice Jessawala?
Yeah, his sister Mara. Wasn't his sister Mara?
I get
No,
confused. There's a Meru,
Beirut,
there's a Manu also.
Manu.
Maybe it was Meru. Maybe, I'm not sure. She left and went to the west for a while. Does that ring any bells?
No, one of his sisters died young.
Oh, yes, yeah,
Right? Maybe
for
it was
sure.
cancer or something like that. The other was living in Marizot. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm sorry, Meribad.
yeah, that's
Yeah, she
right.
lived in Meribad.
Who was it Meru? Who was the one that
Had a stroke.
had a stroke. Yeah. Was that me?
Oh, yeah. That was Mara.
That was Roshan's daughter,
Yeah,
Mara.
Roshan.
Yeah.
Yes.
Carawala. Mara.
Okay.
But she
Carawala,
went
yes.
by her married name, right?
Thank you.
It was a Carawala.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm sorry. I just
Mhm.
trying to put things together now. Oh my goodness, like a jigsaw.
Good thing we have Betty here for these names.
Yes, yes. Thank you, Betty. I really appreciate that. Anyway, I had been working out at Marizad, and I can't remember whether I was in between one of the treatments that I was giving out to the Mandali, or it was the end of the day. That I'm not sure of. But anyway, she asked me if I wanted to climb Seclusion Hill with her. She did that quite frequently. And I went, sure, I'd love to go. So I walk up the hill with her and everything's fine. And she said, do you know how to find your way back? And I said, I think so. She said, just look for the markers, and then turn right and you'll go up through there. And I went, okay.
And she
So
stayed,
anyway,
and you went down, is that right? She
I
stayed
went up to Seclusion Hill with
with her.
her, and then she decided she was going to stay.
Oh,
And she said, do you mind going down on your own? And I went, yeah, I'm okay. So I went down on my own and I'm singing away to myself because I've done that ever since I was a kid. Whenever I'm on my own, singing away, la la la. Anyway, clearly I missed the turn.
mm.
And all of a sudden, I am surrounded by a pack of dogs.
Oh,
Like, oh my, I'm a dog lover, but this was like, whoa. And I'm trying to think of the big dog's name that lived at Marizad.
Astan?
No, not Mustang. No, he was there even when I was taking care of Arnavez. He was a big boy, like a really big boy. Anyway, um, he was part of the pack and he was the leader in all of this. And it was like, oh my God, I've had dogs all my life. And I knew I was in a really bad situation. So I just kept taking Baba's name over and over and over and over and over. Like, I'm not kidding. It was unbelievable. And then one of the buys came out. I think they lived in that area somehow. And of course, I can't understand Gujarati or whatever he was speaking. And I'm going, Baba's house, Baba's house. And he's kind of looking like, which surprised me. But anyway, and these dogs are, circling and my heart was just going 100 miles an hour. And then all of a sudden, Katie came out on the back porch of the kitchen, if you've ever been back there. And she goes, Wendy, what are you doing back there? And I went, I don't know, Katie. I missed the turn and I'm scared.
Look
And
up,
so I don't, sorry.
That's scary. Those dogs, they're scary.
Yeah.
look up and see you up the hill part way? How
No, I wasn't on the hill. Now I missed the turn to go back up to Baba's house.
Oh,
I'd ended up going straight down the road, which
okay.
I'm assuming that's where some of the buys would
Gotcha.
live, right? So anyway, she said whatever she said in her native tongue, and the gentleman that didn't know what to do with me at that point, he said something to the effect where I knew to follow him. Oh my goodness. So he brought me right up to the back porch. Katie was there. Oh my gosh. He gave me a hug. Honest to goodness, I just can't tell you. I was never so happy. And
I
anyway,
had the same. I had that happen to me about 3 months ago, and it was scary. It was only
it
two
is,
dogs.
oh, I, there was at least four of them. I'm thinking five or six, but I'm going to be humble here and go for four. It was just nerve-wracking. Anyway, Katie was lovely. Um, but without a shadow of a doubt, that was Baba's grace. Like there was no two ways about it, because if he hadn't have intervened with Katie coming out at that time, I was running out of time.
Wow.
They were going to go for me for sure.
Wow. Ooh.
Yeah. It was like, oh my goodness. Yeah. That was the only time I've ever been really scared over there, but I was scared, really scared. Yeah. I don't know why that popped into my head, but
So
You know,
many.
there's a really good storyteller. I don't know if I could get him to come on this particular program, but I've heard his coming to Baba story, which is one of my favorites of all time. And
who
that's
is that? Sorry.
Paul
Who's it?
Williams.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so
okay.
Paul, he's got a great story. And I'm not going to tell it now. It's a rather long, involved story, and he tells it so well. But I do want to tell what happened after he came to Baba in his kind of unusual way, um, and spent, I think, 6 months living in Marazad area, you know,
Uh,
and um, and then he was going to travel back through Europe and then eventually get back to California where he was from.
mm,
And so he had gotten to some European uh, town or city and was staying with some people that he didn't really know very well. And he had gotten there at night. So he really didn't know much about the neighborhood or anything of where he was. He just like came
mm,
in the door and and then eventually went to sleep. And he got up very early. It was still dark out, or maybe the sun might have just been starting to brighten the sky a little bit. But he didn't feel like uh, disturbing anybody in the house, so he decided to go outside and take a little walk. So he walks out the door. He starts walking down this street, and he knows nothing about where he is. Uh, and he becomes aware of a dog down the other end of this block, and he's looking at it, and he's thinking, "Oh my God, this dog doesn't know who I am and doesn't look like he wants to become friends. This dog is going to come after me."
oops.
You know, he
Mm,
just, I mean, I'm sure these thoughts were going through pretty fast, but he was starting to try to figure out what in the world could he do.
right.
It wasn't that big of a dog, but it looked mean and vicious.
Mm,
But one of the things, fortunately, he had heard when he was spending 6 months there in India was that if you get confronted with an animal of some sort, a snake or a dog or whatever it
mm,
is, you should yell Baba's name as loud as you possibly can. He
yeah.
did hear that, and that came to his mind. And then here comes the dog. The
Yeah.
dog is like running at top speed right at him,
Wow.
and he kind of squatted down, knelt down to kind of make himself small and cover himself up as much as best he could. But he yelled Mayor Baba as loud as he could. And
Yeah.
as soon as he did that, the dog was almost at where he was. The dog stopped and flipped himself around and just walked away.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it just like was like an invisible shield, it sounds like.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's exactly how I felt. Like if Baba hadn't done whatever he did,
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't be talking to you today for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's amazing. But believe it or not, when I lived out at Marisad, this dog, which again, I can't think of his name, he was a great buddy for me. Yeah, when I first got there, he wasn't quite sure, but as the weeks and months went by, we became good buddies. I always would bring him a treat. And neighbor was very stern about you can only have one treat a day. And so I'd have to ask, is this the treat for the day? But yeah, it was interesting. It was almost like our relationship got started way back there for living out at Marizette. Other words, I wouldn't have been able to go anywhere, move around, because he was everywhere. Like he had full reign when the Pilgrims weren't there. Yeah, funny, eh? You think about the story.
Yeah, animals. I've really gotten into animals a lot more because I'm around them more. But
Mm.
whenever I go to pick up the mail, I have to go on the road, and right across the road from the street that I'm living on is a big plot of land, and there's two horses that live there,
Mm.
and they graze in the field, and they had come up to me every once in a while if they were, especially if they were really close by, but usually they pay no attention to me. They're more interested in nibbling the whatever is growing on the ground. But um, well, one thing that happened that was interesting, uh, and this is sort of, I think, in the way Baba and karma maybe work in conjunction with each other, which is one time my granddaughter was in town with her parents and her little brother, and I think my wife Lisa um, rented or bought a lesson on how to ride a horse. It was just not how to ride it, but this woman who was a horse rider, she would teach young kids, and so we took her over there, and we were all watching her trot, and first walk, and then do a little trotting and all that, and I was I was remembering back one time I was on a horse. I was an adult at that point, and I was in Tucson, Arizona, and this woman took me out for a ride on horses, and
Mm.
and she got the horse. She told me how to get it to gallop. It was such a thrill to do that, um, and so I was thinking I'd like to see this woman gallop the horse. I know my granddaughter was she's not going to gallop. She wouldn't have trusted that. Uh, but I was thinking it would be cool to see somebody gallop on a horse, at least see it. I wasn't going to do it, but
Mm.
to see somebody do it, because it's such a powerful thing to see. And so I wasn't going to ask her because it just was totally wouldn't have been appropriate at all. So,
Mm.
but it was a thought that really came to my mind, and so when we came back home, we swung by where the mailboxes are to pick up the mail. And so I got out of the car, and those two horses were like pretty far away. And I looked over at them. I didn't do anything. I didn't even, sometimes I'll call out to them, but they usually pay no attention to me. But this time when I pulled up, I just looked over there, and both of them started galloping over to me. I was thinking, and it was so cool. I don't think I had ever seen them gallop before. Um, so I just thought that was Baba's treat. You know, he does
Yeah.
those kinds of things where you have this innocent desire, something that would make you
Mhm.
feel happy. And why not? Hey, give this guy a little treat. Just like you gave the dog a little treat. He
Yeah.
gives he gave me a little treat with the galloping horses. They even galloped over to me. I think it was yesterday.
Mm.
One of them came trotting over, and the other one got jealous, and he galloped over.
Yeah.
Unfortunately for them, I didn't have anything to give them to eat, which they were totally disappointed, and they just walked away. But some people bring them treats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotta fly handy, Ron. Mhm.
What's
What
that?
was that?
You gotta keep a supply of treats handy.
I know, I
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
know. I never think of it.
Yeah. I had horses, and so yeah, love to ride. Love it. And my granddaughter, my youngest granddaughter, is a rider, and I'm just so happy about that. I yeah, I had um, I'll sell it really fast. I had a quarter horse that I rescued that had been head beaten, and it took me well over a year to be able to get my hands near this horse's face. Anyway, as time went on, she gave us a foal, and she almost died in that process. So anyway, for quite a few months, we were pretty close. Well, when my father died, and my dad and I were close, I was an only child, lived in foster homes, like, yeah, he was very, very important in my life. And I had three young children at the time, and my mom was at the house, and she was falling apart at the seams. And I said, I got to go to the barn and be with the horse. I need some space. So I went out to the barn and I went into Play's stall, and it was a big box stall. And I just slid down, where you put your knees up to your chest and just boo-hooed. And Play, this big quarter horse, laid down. She maneuvered herself to be able to lay down and put her head on my lap. I mean, that is almost unheard of. They just can't find movement like that. They just can't normally. And anyway, and then she had one tear come out of her eye. One tear. That's it. And we sat there. Well, she laid there. I sat there with her head on my lap for, I don't know, at least half an hour, at least that long. And if that wasn't a gift from Baba, I don't know what. I mean, at the time, I didn't realize, but when I look back on that, it just calmed me right down. And yeah, it was a beautiful experience. I love horses. And then, as I said, my granddaughter now is into horses. And so I'm hoping she gets the same connection where she can heart open.
I'm a
Anyway,
Sagittarius.
what's that?
I said, I'm a Sagittarius. They're half horse. I think all live horse.
Anyway, anyway,
I
sorry.
just watched a video about the importance of beauty in the world,
Mm,
and it was very good video.
mm,
I'm going to have to share it somehow with some people, but
yeah,
I just watched it today. Uh, and, part of it was the beauty of nature, but then there's the beauty that man can come up with through his creative ways. But that there's a lot of things that people don't bother to make beautiful that they could, but they choose not to for some other reasons.
right,
But part of the thing about beauty that they mentioned several times, was the beauty of surprise, that there's often an
mm,
element of surprise that
right,
made something even more beautiful,
right,
right? And so
yeah,
here, I think that fits with what you just, what the image that you just laid out for us about a horse laying down, putting his head in your lap.
yeah,
Uh, it- Totally surprising, and in fact, a horse that you couldn't even touch his face at one time, right?
that's right,
So,
that's right.
so
And you know what? I never thought of that, Ron, until you just mentioned it.
yeah.
I'd forgotten about that. Wow. Thank you for saying that. Wow. Hmm.
So I think just these really surprising things can occur.
Yeah,
Baba puts you through things, and certainly he can use animals to do it.
yeah,
Plants, animals,
yeah,
other people. It's
yeah,
he's unlimited in what he can do if he wants to
yeah,
open your heart and wake you up and do all those kinds of good things that he likes to do.
yeah, yeah, for sure.
Just
Yeah,
what's beautiful to me is all the stages we act on all our lives. Here we're in this place for a certain amount of time. Here we're in that place. it's all beautiful because all those places he's created for us to be there, you know, and to learn and to grow. It's
Yeah.
quite beautiful.
Yeah.
Makes it
Yeah.
a lot less mundane than the whole humdrum
Right.
world, you know. If everything's all of a sudden magical, you know, and
Mm.
you start considering just how incredible the life we're living is, you know, then really, you know, it's uplifting.
Yeah.
And then all the little gifts and jewels and gems that he gives us, you know, like that one that you didn't even recognize at the time. You don't even get to see it till later, you know.
Yeah.
It's just overwhelming goosebumps.
Yeah.
Well, Arthur, you might be in possession of the eyes of the beholder,
Yeah.
right? That's
Some
what
kind of
that's
possession.
who sees it, right? That's who
Yeah.
catches the beauty is the eye in the eyes of the beholder.
Well, you know, I studied the quark system about 1980, and there's 6 quarks. There's up, there's down, there's strange, and then the higher 3 are charm, truth, and the highest is beauty.
Mm.
Up, down, strange, charm, truth, but beauty is the highest quark.
Mm. Mm. Beautiful. Yeah.
I'm not sure if I understood the word that you're
Well, you
saying.
know, it's not like there's 6 words. There's 6 quarks.
So,
Up,
but wait. I'm not hearing what that word is that you're saying. The what? This
it's
it
like
sounds like
Quaker. Like Quaker was Quark, like ark, knowing the ark.
quark. Oh,
Quark,
quark.
yeah,
Okay,
quarks. Uh,
but what
they're
does that mean? A quark? What's a
well, they're you know the way I view it is like they're characteristics or attributes of a personality or a being. You know, like
Mhm.
charm, truth, beauty.
Mhm.
You know, it's like uh, higher. Those are like the higher quarks, and the lower quarks are kind of like you know, like the physical plane matter and the creation and the vibratory creation. You know, it's just kind of a little philosophical word system. You know, but I do remember that beauty was the highest quark. You know, it was
Mm.
higher than truth even. You know, so
Mm.
whatever it means to you, I guess.
I wonder if it's related to quirk, Quirk. You know, if somebody has a quirk,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, characteristic. Yeah.
could be related in that, you know, having quirks. Some of these people that we know from Baba are rather quirky. You know, like we used to people would say that about Kitty Davy. So if you met Kitty Davy, or if you called her on the phone, you know, it was an experience that, you know, she was quirky in that when she was done talking to you, that was the end of the conversation. It was just stopped. She thought it was over. Saying goodbye was not part of her repertoire.
Uh, when I was taking care of Arnavez out at Marizad, the first night that I was there, she watched 2 videos every night. And anyway, I didn't pick the videos that night. I'm pretty sure it was Devana, but I'm not 100% sure. It might have been Sandy. Um, anyway, so my job was just to do what we do and then put the video in, or well, they were VHS, I think, you know, like a cartridge thing. Anyway, so I put it in and I'm watching it and it was like, and this is my first time away from my family and I'm gone now for, you know, 3, 4 months. And I was still kind of a little bit, you know. Anyway, the long and the short, what movie comes on but Fly Away Home? And Fly Away Home was recorded here in Canada, not that far from where I live, only about maybe an hour-ish. And it's about geese. It's about geese flying them home. And I couldn't, you know, it was if that wasn't a Baba intervention, I don't know what it was. It was just so comforting. To that, I was like, oh my goodness. Yeah, it was and Artemis was kind of looking at me, and yeah, I said, it's good, it's all good, I'm good. It just reminded me of home. Yeah.
The other night I told the story at the local story swap, and it was this story when Lisa and I left our office one night. Well, it was still light out. It was probably in the summer or something, and we decided not to go home right away, but to instead
Mhm.
to go walk on the bay, not on the
Mhm.
bay, but next to the bay.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So so there was this walkway that went along the bay, and we got onto it. We left our car, got onto it. As soon as we got onto it, I noticed a bush that had a whole bunch of little birds that had wanted to like be around this bush. There were like a whole flock of them.
Wow.
But they were involved with this bush. And I said, look at this, Lisa. And I somehow I had remembered reading something about birds that day, something that had from spiritual literature. And I might have
Yeah.
mentioned something about it. I don't remember what it was that I said. But uh, then she said, oh, that reminds me. I just read this article in the paper about this woman who uh, feeds flocks of geese that come to her yard, and so she was really impressed with the attitude this woman had, and she proclaimed to me that I just love geese. There's something about them that I really love, and we used to have these morning arties at our house on Sundays. uh,
Right.
People would come to our house and we'd have arti. And it just so happened that when I would set up the arti table, uh, quite often when the geese were, in season, they would fly over right before we started. And so
Um,
there was this thing about geese that was kind of special. So she said, I love geese. Anyhow, we continue our walk. We're walking down
yeah.
the path there. And I look up in the sky, and lo and behold, there's a nice V-shaped flock of geese flying, and they're
Wow.
flying away from where we're walking. But I say, look, Lisa, Baba sent us some geese to look at. See that? And so we were happy to see those geese. But then
Nice.
the geese banked around and kind of made a U-turn and started heading in the opposite direction, more along the line of where we were. And in fact, they kept flying and flying and flying, and they got into a line where they were coming our way, and they were getting lower and lower and lower until they actually flew directly over our heads, maybe only about
Wow.
8 feet up, eight
Wow.
feet over our heads, this V of geese, and we could see their
Um,
flippers, clearly see their flippers underneath their
yeah.
their bellies there. And what we did was we just yelled out, Avatar Mayor Baba Ki Jay, because it was that was a real treat and a gift. I mean, Baba,
Yeah.
Lisa says, I love geese. Oh, check these out.
Yeah.
And it doesn't fly like right next to us. And
Wow.
the
Beautiful.
guy who was riding his bicycle our way, who was right up to where we were, he must have thought, well, what's this Avatar Mayor Baba Ki Jay?
Right.
I'm not even sure if he even saw the geese because he was coming the opposite way.
Right.
But anyhow,
Wow.
that was a thrill.
I bet.
Yeah, that was
That's
so cool.
awesome. Yeah, I love watching the geese there. We get a lot of them around where we are because of the corn, certain times of the year or
They're
certain.
even named after you.
Yeah, that's right. The Canadian geese. Yeah, and they have their moments for sure, but yeah, they're lovely to watch. The indigenous people use them as teachers because the leader always knows when it's time to stop leading and fall back into the V. It's
Wow.
not about, I want to be here all the time or should I be? They just know. and then someone naturally comes in and takes the lead.
I've
And
heard that.
that's their
That's cool.
teachings. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. We can learn so much about how to be in our world, in our society, if we'll just see how some of these animals and birds and fish and all of them
Yes.
do what they do. They have
Yeah.
so many qualities that are worthy of being inspired by and instilling into our own behaviors and ideas.
Yeah. And that's why I was so drawn to the indigenous culture, that they embrace that. And if
Hmm.
you get a good teacher, he or she will sit with you and tell you stories that are, wow, amazing,
Mhm.
amazing. And they make sense. You can then take it out into the world you live in and go, wow, I was a goose today, or I was a horse, or I was, like I had that energy about me. Yeah, I love that. That was my draw um, to their teachings. Yeah, yeah, very fun for sure. And when people say animals don't have a sense of humor, I beg to differ. Maybe not all, but there are some that they have a sense of humor for sure. And I had a golden retriever once that his name was Bear, and he was just everybody's friend. It didn't matter whether you were two-legged or four-legged or winged one, he didn't care. And every so often a bird would fall out of a tree or something like that. But this one day he was sitting there with this baby bird on his head. And he's kind of, if you ever seen a dog kind of looking up like, there's something on my head. I'm not sure why, but it's there. And then eventually it flew off. But it was just so lovely to see that he didn't try to attack it or anything. He just allowed the situation to run its course naturally. It was really beautiful to watch. Yeah. And I know that's not always the case. Anyway.
There's the beauty.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, one
Certainly.
of the things my cat is does that I don't think I'm sure a lot of cats do this. Maybe all cats do it. I mean, I haven't had all cats, so but and I can't remember my other cats particularly doing this, but she um is pretty independent, but she always likes to come up to me and then just walk by me and so that a side of her body rubs against my leg.
Yeah.
I think a lot of cats do. I've seen other
Yeah.
cats do it,
Yeah, they do.
but
Yeah.
you know, I'm not, I also like to now, don't get me wrong here. I like to connect with people. That's to me,
Yeah.
that's the way she connects with me.
Right.
She just
Yeah,
she comes up to
for
me,
sure.
rubs her leg, goes off and does what she wants to do, lay in
Right.
the shade or something like that. But
Yes.
she likes to connect, you
Yeah.
know. I'm connecting with you. And
Yeah.
that I don't know. I don't know if I told the story. I think I did. I told the story about how Baba wanted me to connect with people. Remember I think last
Oh,
week,
yes. Yes.
right?
That's
He wanted me to connect with people. So
right.
one of the
Right.
ways of connecting is, of course, we could talk to people, but I also have this feeling that Baba, when it's appropriate,
Yeah.
wants me to physically connect with somebody. In
Yeah.
other words, if it's appropriate to tap somebody on the back, pat somebody,
Yep.
shake
For
their
sure.
hands, tap them on the arm or something
Yeah.
like that. Um, I think he wants me to do it.
Yeah. I
And I think
agree.
it's like when I do the prayers, I do Baba's prayers in the morning, and I go through this whole uh, I'll call it a rigmarole, but I have this thing where I'm sort of like the when the women Mandali would touch Baba's picture and kiss it and
Yeah.
do all
Yeah.
these different kinds of things, but it
Nice.
involves touching, the pictures of Baba's hands and his feet, and so I'm touching all that. I think if maybe Baba wants me to do that so I can get into me something to deliver to somebody else. So
That
not
sounds
only do I
right.
want to connect with somebody with a nice word or a smile or whatever, but possibly even if it's when appropriate to physically contact, just like
I agree with that,
cat.
Ron. I do. Totally agree with that.
Yeah.
Because you've reset your energy, you
Mhm.
know, so you're in tune with Baba's energy. And if you then go out into the world, you'll know when it's the right person to put your hand on their shoulder or,
Yeah.
whatever. I totally agree with that. Totally. Yeah.
Well, there's the idea that Baba started hugging people. I don't know if the
Mm.
other masters were into hugging, but
Ah,
Baba started hugging people back. I'm not sure when he started doing it, maybe the 40s or the 50s, or, um, but in the 60s, everybody started to hug. It
right.
became a thing, right?
Yeah, that's right.
It wasn't a thing before. I mean, it was a thing in some cultures, but but this became like a sensation, a
Yeah,
fashion.
I agree. Yeah, you're right.
Like two football players on the field, hugging
Mhm.
each other after one
Yeah,
catches the ball from the other one, or
yeah,
something like that.
yeah,
And I was thinking, well, then when Baba wasn't around to start the hugs, he had hugged a whole bunch of people, including the Mandali, and and we are passing on the hugs
yeah,
to
yeah,
maybe even a greater now number of people who then can be hugging their people, and it's flowing through.
right.
It's,
One of my teachers that I had, she taught me to hug. So when you go up to someone and you're going to give them a hug, was to connect heart to heart. So it's to the left. So both of you, your hearts are connected.
hmm.
Oh,
And
yeah.
it's lovely and it really does make a difference. And then when I worked at hospice, one of the things they taught us was to put our left hand into the person that was dying's left hand.
Mm. Mhm.
And again, heart to heart. And it was amazing how they would calm down when you did that. So you're onto something there, Ron. You know, I think it's important to hug and yeah, make that connection heart to heart. People are afraid to connect today.
Yeah, well,
Some,
I
not it.
some it's reserved for certain people when it
Yeah,
becomes when it's the culture uh, demands it, not demands it, but finds that it's okay to do, then
yeah,
the people will thrive. They'll want to do it, but
right.
the culture has to permit it
Yeah,
and find it is acceptable.
yeah, yeah. We're huggers in our family, and whenever a girlfriend or a boyfriend comes in, there's always this initial warning. Just so you know, we're
We're huggers.
huggers. Oh, dear. Yeah, it's good. It's good, I think.
When I was in high school, when I was in high school, it was just before, I think, right before Baba dropped the body. I
Mm,
was in high school, and I joined well, this was in the early 60s. I
mm.
joined a club, boys, a club of guys in high school. And one of the things that they used to do that I had never really done with my friends was shake hands.
Oh, yeah.
I'd seen men shake hands, but
Right,
a boy didn't necessarily, who are they going to shake hands with,
right,
It
right.
wasn't a thing for boys. So I felt like this was an initiation into manhood just by shaking hands with each other.
Ah,
We
okay.
didn't hug, wasn't a, hugging wasn't there yet, but
Yeah, yeah.
we did shake
Well,
hands.
gotta start somewhere.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, yeah. I feel, Ron, with our group, no matter what the top, it somehow is about Baba, even if it isn't exactly a Baba story. It is about Baba. You know, like if you're expressing love and kindness, that's Baba. To me, I don't, that's my take on that. That, yeah, sometimes yeah, you
Well,
talk.
as Arthur suggested too, in hindsight, we sometimes find things that were contributing to what Baba wanted for us, and then it becomes the Baba story that maybe wasn't in the Baba story. Now it becomes the Baba story.
Yeah, yeah, exactly,
So,
exactly.
yeah,
Who
I
knows?
don't think we have to worry about it. I just would like to keep it more along the lines of stories and anecdotes. And I do want to, if somebody who listened to the recording is still listening, I hope you are. In fact, you must be if you're hearing me. But uh, consider coming around and offering and contributing to this record of the stories. And because Wendy and I are going to burn out here in a minute. No, that's not true. I think Baba will provide. So maybe he'll provide you or somebody if you think, oh, I can't tell a story, I'm not going to tell a story. But maybe at some point you will. But you do know that person over there. They would love to do it. Why don't you tell them about it?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
and come over here on Wednesdays at 4 on the East Coast and 1 on the West Coast. Come over and join in and offer one of your favorite stories. Doesn't have to be your story, but it can be.
I think it's great, Ron. I mean, baby steps, brings people in, and somebody's got to start it, and good for you that you did, Ron.
Okay, good.
I can,
All right, Arthur, you want to take us out with a song?
Okay, I haven't played this in a long time, but it's Bob Dylan's song. It's called "Knocking on Heaven's Door."
uh-huh.
Baba Dylan. I've heard of him. You have on the
I think so. Maybe I didn't.
original sound for musicians. You have that on?
Let me check. I'm gonna turn it on now. It was off.
You heard,
Good.
you heard it.
Now it's on.
Huh.
Mama, take this veg off of me. I can't use it anymore. It's getting dark, too dark to see. Feel I'm knocking on heaven's door. Knock, knock, knocking on heaven's door. Knock, knock, knocking on heaven's door. Knock, knock, knocking on heaven's door. Mama, put my guns in the ground. I can't shoot them anymore. That long black cloud is coming down. I feel like I'm knocking on heaven's door. That was fun.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
My fingers went
Lovely.
so
Thank
numb.
you.
My whole hand went so numb I could barely hold the pick together, squeezing it.
Happen often?
What's that?
Does it happen often? Does it happen often? You get numb?
Oh yeah, this arm goes numb.
Mm.
This hand goes numb. They're going off and on all the time.
Nice.
It's a little bit scary, but what can you do, you know?
Those things pass, I think. I've had that many times actually.
Yeah.
But it'll likely pass. It's temporary stuff.
Yeah.
At least not my head going numb.
That's good.
I had people accuse me of that.
You know, that Bob Dylan song is it's if you think about it, what is there? 3 chords in there or 2 chords?
I think 3. Yeah,
3 chords. So 3 chords. I think it's over and over again. I don't think there's any bridge.
It is.
Yeah, there's no bridge. It's about as simple of a song as you could possibly do. But for some reason, there's something so special about it that it became like this hit. It was in a movie, and it's like this. Baba talks about in the God Speaks in the supplement about when people come up with new things in science, art, music, all these different areas where people use their creativity. If they have self-forgetfulness, in other words, the way I see that self-forgetfulness is when you're not engaging with all those sanskaras you've got. Somehow you set them aside long enough,
Yeah.
and then something comes in.
Bob
Something
Dylan,
new comes in.
Dylan said, "Put your guns on the ground." I put my guns on the ground. That's what that means to me.
Yeah. And so when something comes in like that, that's so simple, there's something, it becomes something very special.
It's so
And I think
stirring.
I always thought of
Stirs
Bob
your
Dylan
soul.
when I read that. That he was sort of like that.
Nice. Yeah.
He sang all kinds of different songs. I mean,
Yeah.
the
You got some good
simplest,
ones.
I sing his real simple love songs and devotional songs, which there's not that many of, I don't think, but I love those songs.
Yeah.
Universal.
Yeah. Yeah. The simple songs are beautiful for sure. Yeah. Heart songs. How you doing, Betty?
Well, it's funny. I don't think I have slept through a meeting
It looks like he had a nice nap.
since bow. I would always fall asleep in a bow meeting, guaranteed.
Martin did too.
Couldn't stay awake for bow.
Yeah. Yeah. Funny, eh? Yeah. I remember Bowji when I was taking care of Arnavez, he came to see her. I don't know what day of the week it was, but whatever. And he was with another lady who I can't remember what her name was now. Anyway, I hadn't seen him for a while because I had been out in there at Barazan. So anyway, he said, he looks at me and where have you been? Yeah. And I said, I've been here, Bowji, working. Oh, and he put his hand up. So I put my hand up. He hit my hand so hard, like Oh my goodness, like he was for sure in his 80s, I'm sure at that point. And it's like, wow. And he had this little twinkle in his eye. I was like, okay, is this something I should know about? Like, is there something coming? Like, mind started thinking, but oh my goodness, I was shocked at the strength.
Really?
Oh my goodness, like it would be like a young man's, who was strong. Like,
Wow.
I mean, it didn't hurt me at all, but there was such strength behind it. It was like, whoa. Anyway, and he had that, he had that little twinkle in his eye. I was like, okay.
You think he was so infirm, but I guess not so much. I guess he had some energy there.
I don't know.
Speaking
One
of
thing
getting
I learned with being with the Mandalay, it's a mystery you'll never understand. Just enjoy it.
Yeah.
Don't try to figure it out. Just don't try to figure
Speaking
it
of getting drowsy with the Mandali, I remember in the 70s that people would have to retire to one of the Mandalay's rooms to take a nap.
out.
Yeah, that was very common. I think there was a
Really?
lineup for that. Yeah, people
Oh, I didn't know that.
people would be nodding off, and then they say, you want to come? This room is empty right now. You can lay down on Oliver's bed, or you
Okay.
know, the
Yeah.
different Mandalay that had rooms there.
Well, I think the spiritual energy kind of affects you more than you
Yes,
Exactly.
I
expect.
agree.
The ego can put you to sleep because the ego is like, holy cow, I don't want to hear about this stuff.
Did the Mandalay laugh? Did they laugh a lot?
Oh, yes.
Did they laugh at the Westerners a lot?
They laughed. Yeah, but acting like not make fun of, but
Yeah.
they were jolly. They laughed a lot.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. 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 It was a pleasure to be out at Marizad. I mean, even when they were older, you know, it was lovely to
They
be
seem
with.
pretty jovial, in the talks and stuff. They all seem jovial,
Yeah.
pretty much.
Yeah.
So what
But
that
when
said.
they, sorry, buddy.
I was thinking of Pendu. He had a sign over his head that said, "Do you remember, Ron? Something 50 Slav Guru is in, oh shoot, 50 cents." It was some funny sign. I remember it was Slav Guru. That was Pendu.
Do you
Is
remember Minu?
Yeah, Barucha, electrician. Yes, he was funny.
I don't know what trip it was, one of the early trips. And we were walking up the hill, and boy, he had a pace to him for sure. So anyway, we get up to the samadhi, and we're sitting at the very back, and he's on my right, and Martin's on my left, and it hadn't started yet, but it was getting very close to starting the prayers, and all of a sudden something fell on me,
Oh,
and I wasn't used to the lizards and all that stuff at that point. It was like, and I just went, ah, and I crouched down in the fetal position. And I remember him bending over and looking at me, and he said, "You should stay here for a while. They think you've had a spiritual experience." I remember, and I was like, what do I do with that? Oh my gosh, that was so, it still makes me laugh. Every time I saw one of those little lizards, it was like, I'm not going to do that again. Yeah, he was quite the character. Anyway, one of those. Oh,
Okay, let's meet up again sometime. Maybe next Wednesday.
on the campfire.
sure.
Okay.
Or anywhere else. Enjoy the rest
Or
of the week.
anywhere else. That's
Very
good.
good. Thanks for coming.
That was
Jai Baba.
lovely. Thank you so much for doing this. Jay Baba.
Jai Baba.